But Vegas is too much.
I was gonna say that needs
not drinking in Vegas. Hard. Fuck that. Yeah. Fuck that.
Yeah, there's certain cities you can't go to, man.
You can't get high because then you're scared. And then all I want to do is not be around a bunch of people.
Yeah.
It's like, ching-ling-ling-ling-ling. I'm like, this fucking sucks. But I did find my pocket, which was smoking a joint, going to the sports book on Saturday morning and betting like parlays. There's something, I had a coffee. It was awesome. I was like, this is where I love Vegas. Because I know betting on apps is like, that's the thing right now. But to walk up and be like, hey, I got 24 on a parlay, just giving teams with number names. He's like, all right, so you got Tennessee over Alabama, you got this. And you're like, fuck yeah, give me my ticket. And you have a ticket. You're
old
like,
school fucking, yeah.
I love that shit. Shaking the TV. You fucking dumb kids. Love it. So that was honestly like the most relaxed and fun I had was putting in, and then Chris O'Connor, it was showing up, and like Shane, it was like everyone was near the sports book being like, did you put this bet in? It was fun as fuck.
I can see those guys in particular. How many comics watch sports? I feel like that's a lower number.
It's all MMA. That's it. All the comics love MMA.
I would disagree.
Rarely hear.
I would say 60% of comics
Really?
watch the four main sports.
You know what?
Joe List and I talk about sports
Joe List,
constantly.
I mean, he's like a baseball savant,
he's
right?
like
He's Boston through and through. But yeah, I mean, I would say most of the conversations I have at the cellar or whatever are about NFL, NBA, because like comics know I love the Niners. So if I come in, like Keith will be like, "Oh, your Niners stink," or someone will be like, "Fuck that!" Like I had your Niners in a parlay and they fucked me.
I guess I think about it because you guys don't use like Twitter the way we use it.
No, I enjoy
live tweeting the game.
Yeah, but I enjoy that. Like, I enjoy watching you guys tweet about sports. Like, watching you with the Mets meltdown. I was invested because Giants were out after the All-Star break. They just fell.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, fuck it. I live in New York. Go Mets. Go. I wanted, Mets, Phillies. And then in the AL, it was Mariners and Guardians were who I was cheering at. You, like, pick your teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? And it's fun watching you guys tweet about it. Like, I love watching Will Compton tweet about Nebraska. And I grew up a CU fan. So when they lose, and I'm like, I kind of like this shit. But I think he's hilarious. So I'm like, all right, this is fun to watch him kind of go through a thing. It's different. You have like, it's weird, man, because like, comedy's comedy, and it's like you can go watch stand-up. But with sports, you almost like have these people where you're like, I want to watch it through this guy. Like you're pumped about the Bruins. Now I don't have a hockey team. And Katie, is from Framingham, and they're all Bees fans. So I'm like, all right, I'm a Bruins fan now.
That's my guy. Let's fucking
and like her brother, you know what I mean? Her brother played hockey. Katie knows the Bruins really well. So I'm like, I'm the girlfriend in this case. Are we winning? One time I walked into Playwrights. This is years ago. It was when the Bruins and the Blackhawks were in the Stanley Cup. And Bobby Kelly just had his son. And Sam Morrill and Joe Mackey were having a birthday party at Playwrights right by Caroline's. And so I go in and Sam's there and he's like, yeah, Bill Burr is here in the back watching the Stanley Cup because Burr lived near there. And he was like in town. He had an apartment in New York. He was like in town. And he's just the most Boston thing ever, just sitting at the corner of the bar, having a whiskey, watching the Bruins and the Blackhawks. I know nothing about hockey. I know outside of playing NHL video games.
Yeah, NHL 94.
That helps you know a good amount.
But I don't know what a forecheck is. I don't know what any of that shit is. And so I literally, that was the most, it was obvious I didn't have a dad sitting down next to one of my comedic heroes, one of my heroes, Bill Burr, and him being like, that fucking sucked. And I'm like, Blackhawks are mean. And he's like,
how many points did we score, Bill?
What are you talking about? What is that? And I'm like, I felt useless. I had to get up and I walked out of that bar being like, you fucking idiot.
I recently bought a house, and I know I want to protect my loved ones, and I want to make sure none of my stuff gets damaged or stolen. But the real reason why I want Simply Safe is because I don't want to end up on the news as the idiot who bought a house and didn't have an alarm system. So get Simply Safe today, whether it's because you want to protect your loved ones or your money, or you just don't want to be an idiot with a house that doesn't have an alarm system. Click the link below, start Simply Safe, and don't end up on the news like a moron.
He's a tough, he knows his shit. And like I do this all the time with like family at like Thanksgiving. We're watching football and they say something that's just like extended family I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They say something that's just like blatantly wrong.
Yeah.
Not the correct, and I just kind of like let it slide. Just like, whatever, man. You sit down, you're watching a playoff game with Bill Burr talking Bruins hockey. There's none of that. There's just like, yeah, whatever. We're just here. Like
I didn't throw anything out. Yeah. I would just be like, if I thought so, I mean, I could like follow hockey. I don't really know it, but I can follow it, and I'd be like, oh wow, what is he doing?
Crazy.
Yeah, fuck. What's crazy is because there's like levels to that, because now with McDaniel at the Dolphins, he's like an offensive genius. But I've known him since I was 12, so I can't throw out like a friend opinion to him. Where I can't be like, yeah, that pass sucked. And he's like, do you even know what you're talking about? He's like, the position was lined up wrong. And I'm like, yeah.
So like we had Taylor Lewan in here, and he was kind of talking about that with football in particular, how like when people opine on a sport, he's like, unless you were in the huddle, you do not have the right opinion about what happened.
Yeah, dude.
Like so, like even a commentator or a friend acting like he knows what's happening. Like, he's like, unless you were in the huddle. I think the example Taylor gave was like, we have two calls that are the exact same formation, exact same play, except one I'm supposed to pull, one I'm supposed to pass block or whatever. He's like, unless you heard the call, you can't say I did the wrong thing. Yeah. So shut the fuck up.
That's exactly like McDaniel would. I remember when he was with the Niners, he was telling me how Jimmy G audibles. He was like breaking it down for me. He goes, it goes to the line, they audible, and then they choose. Then he's got the choice of 4 runs or 4 passes, and he has to make that like that quick. And then I'm at home being like, that was stupid.
Yeah,
and you're like, you don't fucking know what he was calling.